Episode 172, Radio Free Innsmouth. Last week, we talked about some new wave of British heavy metal shit. We're gonna do more of that. I might have talked shit on Saxon, but I don't really hate like the hard rock side of new wave of British heavy metal in general, as you can tell by the fact I'm using Witchfind as the background music there.
우리 동아리 실세는 바로
Witchfind spelled Witch, F-Y-N-D-E, not to be confused with Witchfinder General, even though they're both fond of singing about witches and using Baphomet on their album covers. It's very confusing. How many fucking witch bands are there anyways?
안 골라 이건 포기 패스.
Witch Cross, Acid Witch, Angel Witch, Arkham Witch, Witch Trap, Witch Haven, Skeleton Witch, Bell Witch, Hell Witch?
Let me tell you, in my experience, only two kind of old ladies can move like that. Retired Russian Olympians and witches!
And that's just off the top of my head. But yeah, new wave of British heavy metal, a lot of witches, a lot of everything really. You got like the really punk influenced bands like Warfare. You got the bordering on prog rock stuff like Omega. Stuff that was pretty much an early prototype for what would later become thrash metal like Blitzkrieg. And stuff that was basically just like souped up 70s boomer rock like Praying Mantis. Praying Mantis kicks ass. Fuck anybody that tells you otherwise. Listen to those harmonies. Those are dank as fuck, dude. Dank. And it is from that latter region the band we will be discussing this week hails. That band, of course, being Demon. Their early stuff is probably their most famous shit. Like, that's the most historically important for metal. Those first two albums. It's the ones everybody that knows Demon probably knows the best. Certainly the ones I know the most. I've been listening to that shit since like high school. But it's a bit hard to describe. It's like if there was a version of Merciful Fate that could get regular airplay on like 70s rock radio.
Reverse your mortgage, disinherit your kids, and import a Filipino second wife. It's 1488 AM. The Boner.
That's what Night of the Demon is. Night of the Demon, of course, in addition to being the title of the first Demon album, is one of the most used movie titles in history, including such storied cinematic masterpieces as
Eat a bowl of fuck!
Night of the Demons, plural, from the 80s. But the overall tone of this album has a little bit more in common with that Night of the Demon movie, singular, from the 50s, which was actually a retelling of the M.R. James story, Casting the Runes. A very spooky, atmospheric sort of take on occultism and general evilness. Sophisticated and dark, but also kind of cheesy, in a good way. A lot of this music features what I would like to call the Eye of the Tiger / Heaven and Hell era Black Sabbath bounce. You hear it once the drums kick in, you know what I'm talking about. Everything kind of feels like a 80s montage soundtrack. But these lyrics, actually really good stuff. And I dig his vocals quite a bit. And it all has this like nice underlying pulse to it. I like how they layer the guitars and drop them in and out. Good vocal variants too. You got those smooth backing vocals and then the very rough main vocal line. And it mixes very well with how the guitars are sort of like weaving their way around it. Here comes big layered chorus. Little harmonized guitar accents. You see what I mean? It's very similar to like Praying Mantis or even Thin Lizzy, but just like a little bit more evil, and it kind of has its own unique sound. Also, that nice little counterpoint to that main sort of lead guitar melody right here. Very cool stuff. Big fan of that first Demon album, but they got really big with the second one, entitled The Unexpected Guest. And even if you haven't actually heard this album, you might know one of the songs because Blind Guardian covered it. Oh shit, there's keyboards! Really cool atmospheric sound of this album. And the structure in this particular song, which you're going to hear the title of, is pretty wacky because they Well, they start the song out with the chorus. Who does that? That's so weird. But it'll make sense later because they're going to do something funky when they actually get to the proper chorus. You see what happens. And then we have like a layered guitar build up here. Coming in with that soft little cymbal hit. Guitar number 1. Then guitar number 2 does that little accent right there. That's good songwriting. Now all the drums are in here. Turns into a dank fucking evil sounding guitar harmony. And that's really, really cool, if you ask me. Very catchy. And it also fits in well with the chorus melody. Then the pulse is back, but it's a little bit more fast and insistent. Once again, the lyrics are amazing. I like he's got this like really 70s or maybe even like 50s vibe to his voice. Really interesting stuff. He's going to do that thing again where he picks up the intensity of the vocals for the pre-chorus. See what I mean? Got a little bit rougher and scratchier. Dig that. Interesting songwriting. Then the chorus comes back, but you know, like this sounds like that chorus from the beginning of the song. They're going to do something to it though. It's going to go in a weird direction right about now. Weird little fake out ending to the chorus leading into some pretty cool solos. I had to truncate it a bit to fit in like what I wanted to show you. But then that sort of like second part 2 of the chorus comes back. Really cool. I guess they would call this a football chorus over in England. You know, very much get your lighter out type stuff. Ending with some dank harmonies. Really cool song. Blind Guardian covered it as a bonus track on Somewhere Far Beyond. So you might have already known a Demon song, you didn't know it.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
However, that's not my favorite song on the album. My favorite song is the very moody, almost sort of like proto Black Magic SS keyboard heavy song called The Spell. That Pulse is back for this one, of course. All their songs are like this, and I'm not complaining. Lyrics, as always, are very sophisticated and interesting and very spooky. And I just really like this guy's guitar playing. It's odd how he kind of orbits around the central pulse of the music. And then here comes the chorus. This is amazing. That's what I mean by proto Black Magic SS. That keyboard line right there. That's good stuff. Like it's intentionally sort of like 80s lo-fi sounding. Like that's a lo-fi keyboard setting even for the 80s, I would say. But it works so well with like how ancient and spooky and occult this music's trying to sound. Very cool stuff. And then watch what it goes into. A little bit of ye old atmospheric proto-black metal maybe? Oh, not quite, but you'll see what happens. I like me those like wordless male choirs in my spooky sounding occult music. I think it works very, very well. But that's my favorite song on here is The Spell. But after this, somebody cast a spell on this band because they completely changed sound, and I don't know if it was for the better, because like the mid-80s Demon albums, they went full fucking Pink Floyd, and that can be kind of cool when they do stuff like this. I mean, it's not really that metal anymore, but it's still interesting. I like the keyboard sounds, making good use of that obnoxious gated 80s snare drum, how it like has all that reverb and then just instantly decays. You know what I'm talking about. You heard it on that Death Leprosy album that was really not meant for that drum sound. Here, at least that drum sound fits. And yeah, like the keyboards are cool. I dig this. It's sort of like an 80s version of The Who or something. I don't know. But then you get when they start doing really stupid, pretentious stuff like... You don't get it, man. It's a concept album. This is integral to the song. You gotta have dudes talking over piano for like 10 minutes, okay? This is for really smart people. I don't know. Like the synth sounds and stuff I'm okay with, but when you just start going full rock opera, usually you lose me once like the music becomes less about being music and more about telling whatever fucking dumb story. So they had a couple albums like that were kind of a mixed bag. And then their main guitarist and one of their primary composers died of pneumonia. So that sucks. You think that'd be over for the band, because then they put out an album called Heart of Our Time that I didn't care much for at all. It sounded like post-Dio Rainbow, and I've never been high IQ enough to justify listening to that. Ugh. But, you know, after like a couple more member shakeups, I believe like one of the only original dudes left in the band would be the vocalist and the drummer. They put together a new band in like 1987 for the album Breakout. And this one, you know, if you're like me, you ignored the latter half of Demon's career for years and years, this one might make you rethink it, because it's pretty cool. See, the metal's back. Playing some riffs that aren't that far removed from like post-Dio Sabbath, which you know I enjoy quite a bit of. Actually, this might be even heavier in their older stuff, because that central pulse of the music has given way to this sort of like galloping, kind of proto-thrash, but also AOR thing. And the vocals are rough and ready as always. But he's got this like 70s sort of soulfulness to it that makes it pretty unique. And the keyboards are very well integrated. And the choruses, of course, are very big and stadium rocking type shit, which has always been a trademark of this band. Really cool 80s keyboards. Look at that nice gallop there. That's good shit. So yeah, no, Breakout, solid fucking album. You can tell it's better because they went back to having cool covers for this one. But then shit got real good on the album after it, Taking the World by Storm. Because if Breakout was like them doing something similar to like late 80s Sabbath, this one sounds similar to fucking Seiki Matsu or something, man. This one's high energy as shit. You gotta think this probably influenced some of the more stadium rocky Melodeath, specifically thinking of God Gory here. Look at that. How Japanese does that sound? That's so cool. I love this album. And I'm kicking myself in the ass for not listening to it until recently. It's got like a Thin Lizzy croon going on here. Solid fucking album, this one. I like this weird sort of like 70s rock style vocal combined with this crazy like neoclassical metal. I've seen some people compare it to Deep Purple, but for me, yeah, Deep Purple's there. But shit, that wacky like opening solo right there. That was making me think of Seiki Matsu, and so were these like super like jump Van Halen style keyboard stings. I don't know if it was, it probably just like conversion evolution. But yeah, no, this is a good album. Fucking go and get it. This is actually probably my second favorite Demon album after Unexpected Guest, if you were gonna ask me. I don't know, really good stuff. And apparently they're still going today. Like, I haven't made it into any of their like post-90s albums yet, but I would say if you're gonna get any Demon albums, definitely get the first two, Taking the World by Storm and Breakout. All pretty fucking solid stuff. And if you like, you know, like wacky Pink Floyd type prog shit, you might enjoy British Standard Approved, you know, like those kind of albums. I don't know. It's not for me. Usually when I'm looking for prog, I want like wacky solos and outer space stuff, less social commentary and like piano ballads, whatever. All comes down to taste, I guess. But that's Demon. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It was a, you know, shorter episode because I'm working on something big for a certain French band that should be coming out very soon. I'll leave you with that. Bye-bye.
Fucking sucker pussy, return the favor, you know?